I would say, suppose you are writing a program to, for example, download some files or videos from the internet with the help of URL. Now, in that case, what would happen is that if you want to download one or two file, then you can directly write the code. But when you are downloading like multiple files, like thousands, 10,000 files, then you might need a function. And in that function, each function downloads a single file. So we write a single function and pass on the file name to that function. We'll see in the future, like when we work with the files in Julia. So we have already seen like function examples. So if I say println is our function, print or println. So println hello world. If I say this is an existing function. So yeah, so hello world is the function. So we can also check like parse which converts the string to int also. So int one. So if we do int 64 and then use the string, so it will convert. We can also see for the float 64, I think it's caps float 64 3.1456, whatever it is. So yeah, and then if you want to, um, if we do this, then it will throw an error. So if I do int 64 and try to convert a real string, hello, so it should throw an error because we need some base digit. And then we have also seen another function trunk, which is int 64 and then 3.999. So what's the issue here is that we haven't defined the function correctly. And other than this, we can also see mm, more examples of this in 64. So yeah, trunk, then we can use float 64 to convert the into float. These are all functions in Julia. What's the float 64 is not defined. So it is caps. Yeah, it is caps. And after that, string function is there which can convert into string or float to string. Now we can also, there are some existing math functions which we have already done. So which is square root. So these are all function. And then we have cube root. And yeah, cube root is 81. So if we use cube root one of real cube sine cos theta. So yeah, not theta. So this is kind of an examples of existing function which already exist in Julia. But now like if we want to, for example, create new functions, so how can we do it? Let's see. So creating a new function in Julia is very simple. So I just write function, say hello, and then hello everyone, and Charles. If you see here, so now we have created a generic function hello with one method. Now, if I use the hello function, so it will print the statement this one. So in this case, if I would say to create new function, we need this function keyword every time. So function keyword is important to create a new function. This is the function name. Say hello. Say hello is the function name. So this name of the function is important, and hence we refer this function. So it's like you want to create some function, then you have to use the function keyword and then the function name, and then within this round brackets we use the arguments. Right now arguments are none. We'll look into it in further, like later, and after that we call whatever we want to do. So we can do function and then we can press enter. So if I want to, like for example, do some more stuff here, so I will do um, 1 plus 1 equals 1 plus 1 equals to 1 plus 1. So if I do this, so if you see it, it automatic Pluto is good at this, so it automatically detects the changes and then it will 1 plus 1 2. So we can go on like um, Jarvis. That's some simple calculation for you. Do you want more? So yeah, this is how function is. So I was explaining the jump thing. So if we go and see the jump, so for example, function jump, and it can do like, for example, when jump key is pressed, jump once, jump once. So it can do like, for example, I'm just writing here jump and end. So always function keyword and ends with end argument. So which is important. So here if you see jump, it will enter with jump. Now this is a simple example of function. So we will dive more into detail now, which is like how can we, like we can call function within function. So like for example, I have two functions here like say hello and jump. So we can just I will create new function now. Hmm. So one will do function greet. So hello, what, good morning, good evening, good evening, what you would like to have, option tea, coffee. So this is the greet. Now this is one function. Now what we can do, we have the Jarvis function. If you see here, so we can just I'll copy this thing for you. Otherwise, I can edit in the similar function, but I'm copying here. So now, like instead of this thing, I'll say greet. So it says that multiple definition. So in Pluto, what happens is that if you have multiple cell, then it doesn't work like if you have same variable defined. So for now, I am disabling this cell. If we see now, error is gone. Now we have modified our say hello function. Now let's see. I'll call the say hello. So if you see here greet function, if we want to call, we just need to reference the name and argument. If no argument is given, we can just refer it like the empty parenthesis. Now I would say hello. Let's see what happens. So yeah. So as you can see, it is saying hello everyone. I'm Jarvis. Hello, good evening. What you would like to have? Tea, coffee. So we have seen now like how we can insert a new another function. So instead of like so we can add some more function like there is no limit of like you can have only one function or two function. You can add as many function is needed. Now let's learn about parameters and arguments. Now parameters and arguments are Like we have seen here, like this is empty. Like say hello, I'm Jarvis, and then greet. Now what we can do is that, for example, if I want to modify this function, so I can add an argument here, like for example, guest name, yeah. So now guest name we can pass in the argument, because suppose you're creating a robot, and like for example that robot needs to call everyone by their name instead of hello, and like it should recognize using facial recognition and then greet that user or the one which has attended your function. So we need to call it by guest name. So we, instead of like writing multiple, like if 10 guest has come to your party, so we'll not write 10 say hello functions. We'll just write only one say hello function. And here what we can do, we can just use the guest name variable. So now if you see, I have updated this argument as guest name, and then mm, this is the like parameter. Now let's see. Let me just update this with shift enter. So it has updated now. What I can do here is that say hello Batista. Okay, why it has disabled? Okay, I got this one. So it is due to Pluto not able to, like we have to update this same function, otherwise Pluto disables it and then we were not able to read. So for now I have just updated like hello B, and then Batista is the argument to this. So if you see here, like it is hello Batista, I am Jarvis, and hello good evening, what you would like to have. So now we can take another example. Function add up. For example, I can have two arguments. So it will, what it will do, it will add up x and y, whatever you provide, and then it will print addition of is. So now you can see here, function is this keyword function. Add up is like adding up the function, and then it's the function name, and x and y are two arguments. Now if we want to like call this function, we just need to use the function name, and then we can do arguments, which is addition of 2 and 3 is 5. So this is how function and its arguments work. Now we can see other types of function which are one liner function. So I'll one. So yeah, so I'll put this as heading, one liner function. With this show and hide code, you can just use. So this is good feature. I think this is also used in Jupyter. Now one liner function is simple, so we can just use this. We did add up. Now we can just have simple add num a comma b, and then equals to a plus b. So this is like one. It is also generic function. If you see, we can directly write the function instead of using function keyword. So these are good, like if you want to write short functions. So I will do 2 comma 3, and you might say this is 5. Look, this is good, like if you need an immediate function and you don't need to do lot write lot of code around it. So we can also like do um, greet hello. I would say greet hello function, and user. I would just say user equals to hello user, welcome back to my channel. So hello, user is undertaker. If you see here, like I have written the same function which we have written in Jarvis code. If you see this one, greet, and this is the same thing, but like yeah, this thing. So it is same thing, but yeah, it is one liner. So this is good for writing short functions. I would recommend not to use like when you want to write lot of statement, but only like when you want to do simple stuff, then this is good. Now let's do like, if you guys know palindrome. So palindrome are the string like which are from the reverse and from like front is equal. So if you want to write palindrome function, we can just write this way. So this will written. So if I do now palindrome 1331, it will return 2. So if I do 3, it will return false, 3, false, 1, 2. So yeah, so this works. And another one we will be learning is like anonymous function. So functions. So this is good. Like this is similar to like it can also be used like when we don't want to like, suppose you are writing some big code and you want to just quickly write some function which doesn't has any use, but it has only like use for the time being. So it is created using this syntax. So I'll add up here itself. So this is um, created using syntax. This single arrow. This you can use bold. So if you see anonymous function created using syntax, this one. So let's write one of the anonymous function. Suppose you want to write a quadratic function. So I would suppose you're doing some great scientific computing and you want to execute some quadratic function and in the code. And instead of writing full whole blown function, we can use anonymous function, which is in Python they are lambda functions. So here it is simply anonymous functions. So plus one. So we can just do like this. Now, if you do h1 2, so it will calculate for 2, or if I do it for 3, it will calculate for 3. Now, for example, if you want to perform the square of some function, so um, like for example, instead of writing this, we can also write this way, the similar function. So this is also an anonymous function. If you see, we are not returning. Okay, this is not anonymous, but this is like it returns from this expression. So one thing we want to, I will go with the return, but anything like which is the end, if it is an expression, then it returns. Now all these functions which you have seen here, greet, hello, num, but they don't return anything. They are just printing. So this can be called as like void functions, like non-returning functions. So these are like no, mostly like when we are creating function, we want it to return something. um, mm, Otherwise, like functions are not that useful. And only like if you're writing any code, I would say like if you are writing 10 functions, so there would be only one function which is not returning, which could be your main function which is executing the code, but else every function should return. So now this function don't return anything. So if we see function test and argument test um, tester. So now I would say println hello tested, good to see you finding bugs. Okay, now I'm just writing this function. If you see, so now I will just say z equals to z variable I have already used. So in Pluto I have to like be very careful. I am not reusing the variable. So get the access now if you see it has printed, but like if I try to print the value of x, there's nothing. See, this whenever a function returns nothing, so this function is returning nothing. Like we are not getting any output, we are just printing. Like it executes and then just it returns nothing. Then they are called void functions. So yeah, functions are useful and like in next chapter we'll see how we can use the returning functions. Thank you guys. Have a great day.